Welcome to the Football Show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Kerry, Pollock, Alan Ruff and Gordon Parks are here with me. A busy week for teams involved in European football. Let's start with tonight. Rangers take on Club Brugge in their final Champions League qualifier, Ruffy. Successful over Panathinaikos and Victoria Pilsen, but just how tough is this test?
Yeah, I think we all saw how good this team were against Celtic. We know they've got quality in the team. We know Rangers can up their game when they get into European football. I think it's a big night for them. I think they need to take something to the away game, a win preferably. You know, but that team was here in a friendly and we saw how good they were then. Okay, it was just a friendly. I know pre-season it was one each. But I think they've got quality, so Rangers will just be hoping it's how they perform tonight because they've got certain players in their team that can turn it on.
Parksy, they do score goals in Europe, but they also leak them as well. Is that one of Rangers' biggest problems that you've saw so far?
I think it's a step up, and I think one of the things with Brugge is they've got consistency, they've got pedigree, they've got a bit of quality. I think they won't be as wasteful as teams have been going to Ibrox in Europe this season, and that concerns me because Rangers concede them as well, and it's regularly the same mistakes. There's a lack of cohesion, a lack of confidence, a lack of stability around the place. There's a kind of atmosphere just now of fans waiting to pounce, and you can feel it. And I think, as Ruffy said, tonight is so critical that they've got something to hang on to. But against a team who've got that step up, that wee bit of quality, that kind of experience of going damaging teams away from home. But again, they're vulnerable. If Rangers click, if they get that kind of confidence behind them early on, and they get a break, a wee bit of luck, it can be a catalyst for something better. But I think this is the real test.
Why are they seen as a different animal in Europe?
Rangers? I think that, again, it's a cliche now, they find it difficult to beat the low block. In Europe, teams are going to have more of a go. They come and they open the game up a wee bit more, and that suits the system that Rangers play. And I think it allows guys to go and get in behind more, and I think that's where they get their joy. Because they've got players that have got technical qualities. I mean, let's not... Rangers do have offensive players that can damage teams. They've shown that. Domestically, they struggle. But I think in Europe, it's a different environment. And I think players naturally do get themselves up for it.
Yeah, I think as well in Europe, I mean, good teams tend to get you possession. They get you possession. If you want to play the ball and you don't have them look good and making passes, they go, oh, there you go, have it. But let's see what you can do when you get into the last third. And then that's when the good players turn it on. That's when the good teams turn it on. The other wide players put quality balls into the box, and generally the striker in there's got a bit of quality, and they finish. It's just bang bang. You don't all of a sudden you've lost a goal. So possession's got a lot to do with it. But for me, it's all about. I think Rangers got to score first. Yeah. They've got to score first. They've got to get the crowd behind them. If they don't score first and they go the opposite way, then obviously players start getting edgy and they don't want to make the pass they should have been making 10 minutes ago. So I think the big plus for Rangers is scoring first.
There's also more of a control in Europe. Teams don't press as urgently as they do domestically. And I think the pace of the game's different. And I think mentally, players, especially the ones at Rangers that are maybe looking to get a move, this is a big showcase environment. The mindset changes.
Well, an interesting one then is that Nadim Bajrami has been replaced in Russell Martin's European squad by their latest signing, Jaden, I've forgotten his second name now, Meghoma. Is that a kick in the teeth for Bajrami? I mean, like you said, Russell Martin should say to his players, go and prove to me why you should be in my European squad. He scored a great goal against Alba at the weekend. Yeah,
but it's hit and miss. It's too few and far between. Okay. I mean, that's a moment of quality that he hasn't shown. He hasn't brought that to the party often enough. And I think any manager, especially a new manager, a new club, need players that he's got confidence in, that he can depend on. And I think that trust, you don't really have that. I mean, it's all very well scoring a wonder goal, but if it's once in a blue moon, it's not enough. And I think it's a brutal environment. You've got to deliver week in, week out, and if you don't do that, the consequences are that you're out of team.
Ruffy, from what you've seen from Rangers so far, are they struggling to do what Russell Martin's style of play seems to be?
I don't think he's got a settled 11. You know, I think that always helps you. Doesn't matter what team you are. If you're looking at your team, the players you've got available, and you're looking at who your best 11 is, and if that best 11's available, you're really confident. But he's not. He's not confident in the fullbacks. He's not confident in the middle. He's not confident up front. You know, I think he likes his two wide guys. I think he thinks they're going to cause a bit of problems. But at this moment in time, as Patsy said, he's putting all his eggs in one basket of players that he knows, that he's played against, the players he's had. He's shown them a lot of confidence, but to throw them right in there in a European tie is a big, big ask.
Ruffy, there's a trend with Rangers, with the success of the managers that they've had, they always tend to revert back to the guys who've been there before, and I think they'll do that again tonight. It seems to be the comfort of knowing what you're going to get. And it hasn't been great, but it's kind of mystifies me why that is the case, no matter who they bring in. Ruffy's right, they've got a lot of width now, and that's going to be key, because if they can get delivery in, they will get guys that will come in and finish. But it's amazing how, no matter how many Rangers managers turn over, it's always tried and tested, that always kind of guys that they go to time after time.
Is that maybe eliminating the element of risk, though?
It is.
Yeah.
It's comfort. It's a manager hoping that it's going to be all right on the night. That he knows he needs time to bed a system in and get players that his new recruits that have come in to find their feet. But he needs it to work now. He needs it to happen now. And I think that's why they do revert back to that trust and tested. Can
you sense a real lack of confidence within this Rangers squad just now?
Huge. I think the pressure to play at Ibrox just now is making a lot of players wilt. A lot of guys coming again. It's another cliche that they realise just how big the club is, how heavy the jersey can be, and it's adversity almost all the time at Rangers. They haven't managed to get themselves to a level where there's a consistent buoyancy which can lift a dressing room and they can know they get in without that deliver tonight pressure, and you can see it. Players playing under pressure is completely different to players playing under a confidence and an expectation, and there's no expectation.
We say it all the time, Ruffy, about whether it be Celtic or Rangers managers, they don't have a lot of time to change the course of the tide, but Russell Martin says it's not a quick fix. We're turning around a tank, I think he said the other day, but they do need a little bit of time to try and implement their style and to change things. You can't change it on the drop of a hat.
No, you can't, you know, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to convince everybody that that is the way ahead. You know, he's trying to convince the players. But more importantly, he's got to convince the supporters.
Yeah.
The supporters don't see, you know, time. They're saying to themselves, we've had time. We've had 2 or 3 years of shockers. We want improvement now. We want to see a big win against Bruges. We want to see us in the Champions League. And then you can start building, and then you can start tampering. But if you keep going to the negative side of not qualifying, you know, then it's the supporters are the one that determine how the players play on the park. The Parsley's right. You know, I would say the majority of these players have never played in front of 60,000 people. And when you've actually played as a footballer on the park with 60,000 people and they're not cheering you, you feel great. You know, you feel, oh, I'm unbeatable. But if you've got 60,000 people breathing down your neck and not happy with the way things are going, there's far too many players going into a shell. And if players start getting into a shell, that's when you struggle. It's funny how they talk about Ibrox being the cauldron and European, the asset that Ibrox can be, but it can work against you exactly the same way. Interesting to see, like, you've got a manager who's got a patient system, a possession place kind of theory that he can build and move teams about by moving the ball. That can be even more of a daunting prospect for players that haven't got confidence.
Yeah.
Graham Souness made the point that all his Rangers teams, he started with an approach to try and get the ball long, get teams moving behind, quickly be physical. Russell Martin's more kind of calmer, deliberate, play properly from the back. You've got a perfect storm at Ibrox at the moment because Rangers fans are nervous, the players are nervous. That system plays into a kind of, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of panic. Whereas Souness is right, have a plan B initially, move them about, be aggressive early on and play it long, because then you can unsettle the opponent and you use everything that Ibrox has got behind it. The fans will get behind that, because you're talking about a club that cheer throw-ins and free kicks and tackles more than they do clever build-up play. So if you harness that, then you've got a platform to build on.
Do you think there is a plan B, looking at what Russell Martin...
I haven't seen it. Have you?
No, I've not seen it either. I think we spoke about it earlier. I think he's looking for his wingers to be a wee bit impressive.
Yeah.
I think last year in Europe, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Cherny, European football. He was the light, the light in the way. You know, he was taking on people. He was scoring goals. He was throwing quality balls into the box, and I think that's what he's looking for, his two wide men, because it's very, very difficult when you come to European football when the midfield's so packed. You need something a wee bit special, somebody to do something, and I think that'll be his way ahead.
It shows you that there's a lot of hiders at Rangers and there have been over the last previous seasons. Joe Aribo was somebody that took the ball and took responsibility and sparked things. Cherny was someone who had that kind of personality that he wanted to show himself. And I think for Rangers to make progress, they need to take that responsibility and understand that they're there because they have to bring a kind of difference-making ability, and you don't see enough of it. It seems to be a kind of dressing room where they shirk that responsibility, and that needs to change.
Well, Nico Raskin was another one, Ruffy, last season that got a lot of plaudits, really praised under Barry Ferguson as well, but maybe not so much this time round, and there's rumours that he's wanting to leave Ibrox.
I don't understand the valuation. Who's paying 25 million for him? But that's another matter. But I think Raskin did well latterly last season when the pressure was off. Easy to play when the pressure's off and there's no consequence. He has maybe been unsettled by the speculation, but I think somebody needs to have a word in his ear and think, you've got a long, long way to go before you're a £25 million player.
Yeah, you keep looking at him, you can see he's got something, but as we touched on it again, he's not got it consistently. And I'm not comparing it with Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor goes onto that park every game and performs. He performs every game. Raskin's not done that. He might do it in 2 or 3 games and he looks good because he's a quality player, but until he gets that Callum McGregor mould that he's going to walk onto the park and control most of the games, then he's never going to be 25 million.
I thought it was a revelation when he arrived.
Yeah.
Real freshness, real authority within the game. He has got quality, but you need week in, week out delivery. And I think he's another one consumed by the environment. And you can see a lot of players arrive, initially start with a bit of vibrance, a wee bit of, you know, they look at home, and then they're consumed by the environment, and they start to think mistakes, they put it in their game. I don't want to be the guy. There's too many guys, I don't want to be the guy that are there.
Okay then, we've still got a few weeks left of the transfer window. Will Russell Martin need to clear out a few more players, in your opinion, Parksy?
Has to.
Yilmaz is another one that's been linked to leaving.
The word purge springs to mind, but again, it's easy to say it. Who's taking them? If I'm sitting at a contract at Rangers and I'm out of favour, and there's nobody prepared to match the wages that I'm on, I'm going nowhere. And I can think of, there's a host of players in that bracket, and I think he came in and he knew one of his most daunting tasks was to try and remove the deadwood, but it's easier said than done because whoever gave them these 3-4 year contracts are the ones accountable. It's not Russell's fault. I think they'll find it difficult to remove them.
Yeah, Ruffy?
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, there are far too many people in the comfort zone and getting paid very, very well. You know, don't want the pressure. And for Rangers, that's happened far too long. As Patsy said there, some of the contracts, because Rangers weren't throwing about big money, £4 or £5 million players, have been putting players on good wages. I mean, excessive wages. I don't know exactly what the wages are, but I'd imagine if I was getting an excessive, and the manager doesn't like me, it's not my fault. You know, and Patsy said, unless there's a club come in willing to give you what you're getting or you want to play, you would think every player wants to play. You don't want to see you your whole career, you know, sitting on the bench or sitting in the thing. You want to play, but a lot of them now are obviously money orientated, and that's the way they think.
Yeah, well, from one transfer list to another, Celtic have been linked with former Leicester star Jamie Vardy. Parksy, did you see that one coming?
All day long.
Yeah?
All day long. Perfect. Perfect fit, no risk. A great opportunity for a guy at the tail end of his career to come to a place that will love him if he does what he's done consistently throughout his career, score goals. And I think he's a better finisher than they've got. I think there's a new lease of life in him if he comes to Celtic Park. The fans, listen, Jamie Vardy's not the Jamie Vardy that he was 3-4 years ago. But Jamie Vardy is somebody that the fans will relate to because they know they're getting quality there. I don't think it's a big risk, do you?
No, I don't think so either. You know, that I think he fits the bill. I mean, he fits the way Celtic play. Two wide guys get into positions, and Tierney and all. They fire quality balls into the box. He's got to be sharper than the majority of defenders that we've got in our league. So you would think he's a fit. You know, he's just all the experience in the world. You know, and still got a name that people would be fearful of. So no, I don't think it's a.
He's also known as a manager. I mean, that's a biggie. It's a biggie because you're automatically in killing time immediately because you know that's seamless almost. Because Jamie Vardy knows what Brendan requires. As Ruffy says, the system at Celtic is geared towards chances being created. No matter what age he is, and he's not ancient. He's just come out of the Premier League. Makes perfect sense to me.
38 years of age for a front man. Is it a bit of a risk when you look at the likes of James Forrest, who Celtic fans say we can't be starting James Forrest every week? You know, he's mid-30s. Is 38?
I think it's a level of fitness. I mean, these guys are machines now. You know, they're perfectly oiled. They get manicured. They get looked after. I remember we went down to Everton I think we were interviewing Stevie Naismith, and he was telling us about the new setup at their training park. He said, Ruffy, he said, I could come in here at 10 o'clock and leave at 6 o'clock at night. I could everything done, everything I wanted to get done in the gym, people looking after me, manicured, you know, everything, masseur. The way modern day football is, these guys are well tuned. You know, they know what to eat, they know what to drink, they know when to sleep. So I would think he's been brought up that way, and 38 wouldn't be a problem for me.
Ruffy knows this better than anyone, and it's often missed. The best strikers that you played with, I'm sure were in their 30s, right? Some middle 30s. Even back then, the intelligence you have, what you can pass on to other players. You don't need to tell Jamie Vardy how to go and score a goal. You don't need to tell Jamie Vardy how to be part of a team. He can rub off. He brings so much to the party. Brings a bit of star quality, but he also brings, I can think back in my career, and you can as well, about the real game intelligence, that experience, which is worth its weight in gold.
Another thing as well is when you move to a new club, say we were Celtic players, and we're sitting in the dressing room, and Jamie Vardy walks in. That is a head start. Yeah. That is wow. You know, got Jamie Vardy, a Premier League player with a goal scoring record that he's got. He's come into our setup, so he's not having to persuade anybody what he's got in that dressing room. Everybody knows who he is when he comes in.
He's also not a drama. I know he's married to a drama, right? But he's not. He doesn't bring controversy or that kind of baggage. He brings goals.
Yes.
And if Jamie Vardy's still capable of scoring goals, get a deal done.
Is that the type of competition that Idah needs? You know, Brendan Rodgers has said this is the only way that
Idah will benefit from having somebody with that kind of penalty box expertise. You learn by playing with people that are better than you. And I think Idah, we can go back to, he was a buy that was far, his worth wasn't really demonstrated by the value that they put on his head. He's not £1 million striker, is he?
Who are we talking about? Idah?
Idah.
No, I just think it was because he came from England, the price. I mean, if he was to go back down to England, it'd be 9 million. They'd just pay 9 million in there. You know, that's the value, that's what he is. They would say he's a young player, he could, you know, blossom any year, you know, he has scored goals, but they must, I would like to think they'd vetted him before they brought him. So they've obviously somebody's seen something there, but we haven't seen it yet. No. And I think the supporters haven't seen the real 9 million deal yet. Yeah,
but we've seen promising moments of him when he was on loan at Celtic. You know, he scored the goal in the cup final.
The timing of his goals and the narrative behind his goals helped him massively because there were heroic goals, there were last gasp, there were ones that define history at times. So he was lucky in that, but you make your own luck. Maybe there is something there. Maybe there is that kind of £9 million potential there. He just has to bring it again more often.
Yeah, I think it's the style of football that Celtic played don't suit a big centre forward. They're not throwing balls into the box. He's not having to like bully centre halves or anything.
He's not physical enough for a guy that's got the weapons that he has.
Celtic's success is, as I keep repeating, getting the ball wide and firing it into the box. And that striker's got to be half a yard sharper than the ones that are defending it. And he's just.
Why Kyogo was the player he was at Celtic, because he was so sharp.
Yeah.
And that fits into the style of play because it's all geared towards moving teams about quickly, and he was brilliant at it.
What would you value Adam Idah at?
I'm not convinced that he's a Celtic player. I don't think that. I think he's too wasteful. I think he's not physical enough for a guy with all those attributes. He probably could go back to the Championship because as a physical, it's an Adam Idah league, right? It's where power and pace and taking an occasional chance. I mean, if you score 12 to 15 goals in the Championship, you're a success as a striker. If you don't score 30 goals with Celtic, you're not a success. And that's where the difference is.
Yeah. Well, from one Celtic player to another, Ben Doak, or we should say now Ben Gannon Doak, he's double-barrelled his second name now, Ruffy, went from Liverpool to Bournemouth for a staggering £25 million.
Yeah,
Well,
again, he's a young boy who's been about on loan, you know, and obviously 25 million. Again, we're into a price bracket, that's what it is down in England. You know, if you show that kind of form, you know, and he's still got his whole career ahead of him. I don't know why he's changing his, adding another name, you know.
I think it's to honour both parents.
Well, that's good. I
Mum
wish
and
I'd
Dad.
have done that. I'd have Alan Roderick Ruff right down
there's
my
a
own
ring.
sleeve. me coming down the sleeves and everything. The name.
Does he know the way that?
I had a colleague called Michael Gannon, but the less said about that, the better.
The likes of Ben Doak and on the Lennon Millers and all the other young Scottish talent that we have, Parksay, is there a added pressure on them for when it comes to international football?
I
We
think
expect a
Lennon
lot of
Miller,
these
to
boys.
my, is the most, for potential, is the best I've seen in the last decade. Ben Doak's a different kettle of fish. He went down to Liverpool, he set the head on fire, he's electrifying. He works so hard to get on the ball. He's exactly what we're talking about, personality, bring it to the pitch, deliver it. Ben Doak's a work in progress. His final ball's not great. He can be running down blind alleys at times. He's also 5'6", 5 foot. He's a small.
Stature, yeah.
He can get physically bullied out of games, but he's got a real. What separates him is his desire. Even when he plays with Scotland, give me the ball, I'll go and do something. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for that potential. Can he take that to another level? It's up to him. But it's a lot of money for that, isn't it? It's a lot of money for potential.
I was going to say 25 million. Is that a fair estimation?
Well, you see people coming from Spain, Italy, and you're talking 60 million plus.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, the way the money is just now, you know, they wouldn't have paid it if they didn't think it was good value.
Are players overvalued generally, do you think? Yeah.
Massively. I watched Jack Grealish on £300,000 a week last night. He came off the bench for the last 20 minutes.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
He's passing the ball back the way. Is there value for money there? I think that's. I don't think there's even an argument. £25 million for Ben Doak's not going to break the bank for the club that he's joining, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
It's a speculation signing. Remarkably, 25 million is a speculation signing for a club in that bracket. But when you look at some of the guys that have moved for major money this year in England who won't feature, that's where, again, the difference is. They're not in there as integral marquee signings, even when you're £60 million, which is astonishing.
It really is. Before we get to the final part of the show, Celtic, before they play Karat Almaty on Wednesday night, Rafi, they've got 24 hours before they can add any, that's the time they've got left to add any players to that European squad. Will they do it in that time? Do you see anyone coming in?
Yeah, I think they will, but I don't think they'll be right into the first team. You know, I think they might have eyes on the next leg, depending how that goes.
Yeah.
As I was driving in, I was trying to fathom it out. Why? You know, why? Why can you not get a deal over the line?
Yeah.
And if it's money, you know, if you're haggling with somebody for 1, 2, 3 million, the supporters will be going, "Why are you doing that? Well, we've got the money. You know, let's just get it over the line." But as we spoke about it in the show the other day, it's harder. It's harder getting somebody away from a club who's a star man. They'll be wanting the best value they can, as Celtic Rangers would be trying to do. But I just think the Celtic supporters were scratching their head and they're hinging all their bets on this. If this was to go pear-shaped, all hell will break loose. And I spoke about it the other day.
Yeah.
Who would it be that's going to get it?
Yeah.
Who's going to get the brunt of it? You know, is it I think it'd be the board mostly. I think the manager might suffer a wee bit unless he comes out and goes, look, I've done my bit.
Have you not got a sense of deja vu about the whole thing?
Oh, I know.
It's a movie we've been in many times.
Yep.
I just think Celtic's recruitment policy is mystifying. I think they leave things too late. They have a massive appeal, a massive lure.
Yeah.
How difficult can it actually be? If we're talking about Jamie Vardy, right? Jamie Vardy's the one that's looking to move to Celtic, right? So it's whoever's recruiting, either the hard sell isn't strong enough, either they're resting on their laurels, maybe they're not prepared to pay the money that players that we're now talking about to go and achieve. Kieran Tierney comes in, and that is a real marquee arrival, and he's on big money.
Yeah.
So that is to be applauded, but as Brendan knows, to lift the quality and achieve at the level they want to achieve and break through that glass ceiling, it's going to take money. You're going to have to change your ethos at Celtic, maybe. Financially, just go and pay what players want.
I think a fair point that you made on the show this week, Ruffy, is that Celtic haven't got Champions League football just yet, and that's a real pull for players as well. So maybe some targets of Celtic's are going, well, we'll kind of hang back and see if I'm going to be involved in that competition in the upcoming weeks.
Well, it's went quiet unless Parsi knows more than us. We know a couple of players that have been trying to haggle with, but that's been 2 months.
Yeah, it's been a long
You
time.
know, it's been a long time since a name. I haven't seen a name in a paper in the last 2 or 3 weeks that they're pushing and they're active and they're doing it. Unless they're very good at it and doing it behind the scenes and keeping it in house. But at the end of the day, a supporter just wants to see players coming through.
Yeah.
And it's not happening.
It's not happening quick enough. Right then, Jamie Vardy, a huge Premier League name coming to Scotland, speculating to come to Scotland. Can you think of any other English Premier League players that have come up here and done well for
I remember
club?
Thomas Gravison. I remember going to Celtic Park actually when Thomas Gravison get signed and the big hullabaloo about that. And I thought, brilliant. This is proper superstar quality that's arriving. And as history shows, it was a damp squib. I think Scottish football needs as much sprinkling of star quality as it can get.
Yeah.
It's good for the game, it lifts the credibility and the gravitas, it lifts the whole environment. Brendan Rodgers arriving as manager made Scottish football feel better about itself. And I think that has to also be seen in the recruitment. Gaza signing for Rangers is obviously the big one, right? Remember the summer's day and Gaza walking up in the front door, the blue room. It's great for Scottish football to bring in household names, but they're few and far between. They're getting less and less. Who do you think?
I think one of the ones that came to Celtic when he signed that, I thought, wow, Juninho, Brazilian, no, unbelievable player, you know, and he comes to Celtic and, well, not nothing, but near enough, not what the quality that he had at all the in international football and club football.
But the rabbits coming at the hat: Roy Keane, Robbie Keane,
Yep.
Freddie Lundberg. Real guys that you can identify with world names coming to Scottish football. It takes your breath away at times, but it did. But who was the last?
Who was the last? Stephen Gerrard, manager of Rangers. Was
Gerrard
a big
was
name.
Rangers done well for a right good spell with the Laudrups and the De Boers and
They did.
the Van Bronckhorsts, and they were enormous signings.
I remember playing in a closed-door friendly one summer before the season started when Rangers signed Basil Bolly. And Basil Bolly just won the Champions League with Marseille.
Yeah.
And they turned up at Broadwood with Gaza, Laudrup, the whole shooting match was there. They were an unbelievably talented side, but I was playing against Basil Bolly and he was hopeless. I remember thinking all the headlines: Basil Bolly, Champions League winner, signs, falling over the ball and all that, unfit, an absolute shambles, right? And it was so disappointing to me as a player, because Laudrup was playing, he was fantastic, Gaza was playing, but this Basil Bolly, who must have been given a fortune to sign, was hopeless. So it's not always what it says in the tin.
Yep. Joe Hart's another one, Ruffy. Goalkeeper.
And I thought Joe Hart did
coming in?
okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought he did. He sort of revived, because everybody at that stage of his career, everybody was just remembering the goals that he lost with Lee Griffiths.
And yeah,
that was in the,
against England.
that was
that's right,
what
yeah.
he was going to be remembered for. But he came up
yeah.
here, I thought he did particularly well. I thought he had a bit of stature about him. You know, obviously the games that he's played in at club level and international caps as well. So no, I think he did particularly well.
There's great quiz questions to be had over that. I mean, Ian Wright played for Celtic.
That's another one, yeah.
People forget that.
I mentioned Dion Dublin.
Dion Dublin, right?
Dublin.
See, Holmes under the hammers. No, you could go on all day and talk about these guys, but just finally then, why do these guys want to come to Scotland and potentially finish their careers? Because 9 times out of 10 it is in the twilight of their careers that they come here.
Well, with Celtic and Rangers, which we're talking about, a lot of these players are in the evergreen stage, and it's always been their ambition. They've always had Rangers or Celtic as a second club. Look at Robbie Keane, it was a dream.
They've heard about Rangers Celtic games,
Yes.
they've heard everything
Well,
together.
they've been to Ibrox previously in their career and they've been blown away, or Celtic Park. They want to stamp their own end of career legacy at a club where if you do well, you'll be loved. They're also getting paid very well.
Yes.
Celtic will pay somebody who's on the downturn a lot more than others in that environment, so it makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, the list could go on for days. On behalf of myself, Ruffy and Parksy, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, we are of course at all the games across the country this weekend and throughout the week for the European football matches. And if you want more additional content, be sure to subscribe to PLZ Premium. Here's how you can do that. Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you will be in our prize draw to win this fabulous Scott McTominay replica Napoli shirt. PLZ Premium is offering additional content from your favourite football channel. Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you'll be in with a chance of winning this fabulous football shirt.